I ranked all 183 Whizbang's workshop cards from worst to best. Please end me. Starting with the 1-star cards, these cards pretty much never saw play. Number 183, Fancy Packaging. I think this might be one of the worst cards in recent memory. Just play Hand of a Doll. Number 182, Purifying Power. When Purify was first released, people rioted because of how bad it was. Where were the riots for this card? Number 181, Silk Stitching. You're better off just playing the spell that costs 4 or less, or even just playing Arthas's Gift. I am so sorry to anyone who opened this as their epic. Number 180, Giggling Toymaker. Giggling Inventor came out in 2018, where it was 1 more mana for a battle cry for the same effect as this Death Rattle. It was good because it was an odd cost, so it paired with Baku, and it was also an instant 2 Divine Shield taunt block. Who knew that having this as a Death Rattle would make that card that much worse? Number 179, Origami Frog. I honestly thought there were only 2 origami cards in this expansion, but today I learned there was 3. There are just too many things that need to go right for this card to be good. Number 178, Rumble Enthusiast. This was Stargazer Luna before her glow up. Number 177, Bucket of Soldiers. The optimistic view is that this is a 3 mana 5/7 with a lot of bonus effects. Realistically though, this is a 3 mana 0/2. Number 176, Cosplay Contestant. Also in this reality, this is just a 3 mana 3/4. But Valera gives some bonus points because look at her. Number 175, Rambunctious Stuffy. The fact that you need to play a frost spell just for this card to be decent makes it not even good to begin with. Number 174, Workshop Janitor. With how easy it is to draw 2 cards nowadays, the condition and mana cost of this card is just not worth it. Number 173, whoa, stop. It's editing Xiaopao here and I have made a grave mistake. As I'm editing, I'm looking back and some of these cards should be a lot higher than they actually are on the list. Problem is, if I change the order right now, I have to re-record the entire 183 cards. And I've already done that twice because I forgot to talk about Rambunctious Stuffy. I honestly hate that card so instead of re-recording, I'll just have a little pop-up saying whereabouts the card should be at. And subscribe if you like the video. Number 173, Card Grader. It's good to see Naga have synergy again, but this card is so stuck in 2022. It would have been nice in the Voyage to the Sunken City expansion, but it just does not keep up with the power level nowadays. Number 172, Freddy Forgotten Animatronic. This card has a weird interaction with a lot of Titans because it actually has a lot more attack than them. That said though, it still sucks. Number 171, Jade Display. The callback to Jade Golems are charming. Too bad the last time Jade Golems were good was 2017. Number 170, Wind Up Enforcer. It's good to see tradable cards in newer sets, but that's the only good thing about this card really. Number 169, Wind Up Musician. It's good to see tradable cards in newer sets. It's also cool to see every class have an AoE board clear. Too bad that's the only cool thing about this card. Number 168, Wind Up Sapling. It's cool to see tradable cards in newer sets. Okay, seriously, you have to trade this card like 10 times for it to be good in a combo. It's just not going to work. Number 167, Califero the Artist. There is almost no scenario where this card is usable, but I'm delusional, so its meme potential is good enough to not have it dead last. Number 166, Ensmollen. This type of mana cheat is not fast enough or direct enough. Plus, you have to hope that you do not draw any minions before you actually draw Ensmollen too. Too many factors for it to be good. Number 165, Sasiji. Honestly, in slower Demon Hunter decks, I can see this card see play, but the last time you've seen the slower Demon Hunter deck is in your dreams. This card doesn't even have data on HS Replay, no one plays it. Number 164, Hemet Foam Marksman. The fact that you already have to play 5 mana for 3/6 in stats and then either have a beast already on the board or you have to play one from your hand, just too many things to happen to make this card be good. Number 163, Shoplifter Goldbeard. This runs into the same problem as Hemet where you have to spend 5 mana first before the effect is actually useful. Number 162, Cursed Campaign. It's just too slow. Number 161, Return Policy. They really gave this card to Demon Hunter while giving Demon Hunter no Death Rattle cards to make it work. Thanks, Sasiji. Number 160, Recommendecum. All these new Mech Warrior cards makes me think that in the next expansion, we are going to have a lot of mechs for Warrior. That has to be the reason, right? Number 159, Joymaster Geppetto. The only time this card saw play was when you needed to destroy it or play it for that one event quest. Number 158, Floppy Hydra. 3 mana 4/8 sounds pretty good, but by the time that actually happens, you've already lost. Number 157, Gibberling Reject. Now this card can be scary in Arena. Number 156, Building Block Golem. It pretty much just trades into a minion and summons some 1-cost minions, nothing special. But imagine this. You're 5, you're using your Legos to smash your figurines into something, and then the remains of the dead Lego come and resurrect for revenge. Okay, maybe it's just me that thinks that's cool, never mind. Number 155, Bargain Bin Buccaneer. It can clear the board, but you won't even get ahead on the board because of the 2 health. So most likely it's just a removal and it's not even a great one at that. Number 154, Lesser Opal Spellstone. Easily the worst of the lesser spellstones. You bring dishonor to the spellstone family. Number 153, Fireworker. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot this card existed. But if you need to discover mechs, it might be a good option if you need that tempo. Number 152, Shining Sentimental. In theory, it's really annoying to deal with, but in practice, it does not wall off minions with that 3 attack very well. The Pokemon Shiny reference is great though, for nerds like me. Number 151, Blind Box. If you hit the Outcast on this card, it can be pretty good. The problem is that in a lot of Demon Hunter decks, there is no room for value-oriented cards like this to ever be played. Number 150, Tabletop Roleplayer. In theory, this card gives a lot of value, but it's so rare for a big demon to stick on the board, nonetheless another big minion on your opponent's side of the board for you to trade into, nonetheless, this not being a dead draw before that. Number 149, Delayed Product. A 4-mana card that does nothing. The unicorn is the same way I feel about this card. Number 148, Lina Shop Manager. It's hard to play this card at a discount, making the big effect useless without any spells. Number 147, Pipsy Paint Hoof. It can be good with the right paladin tools, but it's really just a 7-mana 4/4 on the turn you play it. Number 146, Wilderness Pack. If you're ever in a position to play Wilderness Pack, you are either winning or losing hard. Either way, this is not the best card for that scenario. Number 145, Standardized Pack. The same problem as Wilderness Pack, except there is a slightly higher chance for warriors to actually want to run this card. Keyword slightly. Number 144, Chalk Artist. The only reason this card would be good is if you are running cards that are not good in your deck. The perfect deck to actually play this card. Number 143, Dust Bunny. It's cute, but if I wanted a piece of junk, I would just play this card instead. Number 142, Fetch. I think this card can be really good in Beast Hunter. It's a 2-mana draw 2 specific cards. Look out for it in the future. You don't have to look for it now though. Number 141, Toy Boat. There isn't enough pirate synergy to justify this card. And again, like Fetch, look in the future for some aggressive pirate cards and this card might see play. Number 140, Water Cannon. Same as Toy Boat, there is just not enough pirate synergy for this card to be good. Number 139, Sock Puppet Slither Spear. This card is competing with the very good Demon Hunter 1-drop competition of Battle Fiend and Vicious Slither Spear. There is a spot for this in big attack decks though, but it is yet to come in a consistent manner. Number 138, Character Artist. It's not anything special, just a subpar effect. I also don't know if I should dock points for the mustache. Number 137, Workshop Mishap. Theoretically a decent card, but there isn't a good deck to slot it into right now. Also, with the state of boards and minions right now, just dealing that excess of the 5 damage might actually not do that much. Number 136, Buy One Get One Freeze. Amazing name and flavor. It's literally buy one minion, get another one freeze on your board. You know what you want to use these on, but with reverberations already existing, this card is just not as good as that card. Number 135, Flickering Lightbot. In Control or Highlander Paladin decks, this could be great, but since Paladin spots are really competitive, we have to wait. Number 134, Explodoneer. I think I'm overrating this card just because I think it's really funny. It has potential to snowball if your opponent doesn't remove it later, but that's all potential. It might not actually happen. Number 133, the Crystal Cove. This combos really well with the Replicator, but that just never took off. Number 132, Treasure Distributor. Man, this card got buffed and it still does not see play. Just you wait till the pirate comes though. It'll come. Number 131, Watercolor Artist. You can slot this card in the Rainbow Mage, but no mage deck wants to run this right now. It tutors the specific card draw, which is really good, just not good right now. Number 130, Rocket Hopper. I remember when everyone was going insane about this card. Boy, were they wrong. Number 130, Foam Render. There is a place where this card can be used constantly to deal damage in unholy decks, but for now that place is in the bottom tier. Number 128, Clearance Promoter. I can see this card enabling combos, but I can also see Blizzard bringing back duels. Both are not likely to happen. Number 127, Pro Gamer. I think I'm being really biased putting this card this high. It's just so fun to play. It's also really bad. Number 126, Twisted Pack. Unlike Standardized and Wilderness Pack, this pack is slightly better because rogues want to play cards from other classes a lot more often. Keyword slightly. Number 125, Careless Crafter. Anything that gives you a 0-cost spell has the potential to be a dangerous card. Too bad, as of right now, the only danger this card brings is the danger to his numbers. Number 124, Corridor Sleeper. I've learned my lesson from Corridor Creeper before. These awaken when your minions are destroyed cards can be scary, but it is still bad right now, so it gets a 1 star. Number 123, Bot Face. If there wasn't so much instant removal in the game, Bot Face would be so much better. But right now, it can get easily removed by so many things where its effect won't activate. If you do decide to combo this with your own cards, its effect is not that immediate either, making it not the most impactful card in the game. Number 122, Chemical Spill. This card is obviously supposed to be paired with Bot Face. It's not amazing, but I can see the potential. Number 121, Papercraft Angel. This card does not really have a place in Standard with how much healing there is now, but the flavor is amazing. Number 120, Origami Crane. It can be paired with hero powers and all that stuff for easy removal, but it's barely effective compared to what other removal cards can do. Number 119, Lab Patron. Though this card never saw play, it looks very scary on paper. Not on the board, just on paper though. Number 118, Nostalgic Initiate. Honestly, as a free-to-play card in aggressive decks, this is not the worst common to get. It serves its purpose and will be replaced by better cards when you can afford it. Number 117, Wave of Nostalgia. Right now, Shamans cannot build a very wide board, so it's not that good. But when Shamans can, this will be a really fun card to slot in. Doesn't mean it'll be good, but it will be fun. Number 116, Once Upon a Time. You really only play this card if you have nothing else to put in your Highlander Shaman deck. It's a placeholder for now until better cards come. Number 115, Nostalgic Clown. Apparently some people are playing this card. Whoever you are insane. The flavor text referencing the corrupt mechanic is a bonus though. Number 114, Hidden Objects. You can play this in a Spell Mage deck, but it's more of a card you get when you discover cards and you have nothing better to get. You discover it and you're not upset about it. Number 113, Dark Moon Magician. This card is really good when you get it from Spot the Difference. It's not one of those cards you want to run, but rather one you want to discover and get randomly. Number 112, Incredible Value. This card sucks. It's a meme though, so I bumped it up a bit. Number 111, Nesting Golem. This saw very niche play in hand buff Death Knight. Literally 0.2% of decks can run this card. Still, that is more than a lot of the cards below it. Number 110, Overgrown Beanstalk. Though this card does not see much play now, when Token Druid inevitably comes back, you better watch out. Number 109, Toyrantis. For how annoying the stat line of a 14/14 with Elusive is, this card just never found a home. It is possible to combo this card with Dorian, so I am not counting this card out as extinct yet. Whew, okay, still with me? We are starting our 2-star section, which is for cards that have really niche uses in meta decks, or cards that have potential, but the decks just never took off. Number 108, Aulonius. It's hard to justify a 7 mana upfront cost to combo spell damage with, but who knows? There is already a tiny combo with Sparkling File in the Boomkin Druid. Maybe there is potential, but it has not gone off the ground yet. Number 107, the Replicator Innator. I've seen this card be used in Spell Hunter with Mantle Shapers comboing with it. It just takes so much setup and it's not even that big of a reward. It's above Aulonius because of the Phineas and Ferb reference. I love Phineas and Ferb. Number 106, Sing Along Buddy. I have seen some hero powered druids run this card, though that deck is on the endangered species list, and this card barely fits in that deck in favor of popular Pixie. Number 105, Tar Slime. Another card used in some Highlander decks to fill space because it's good against aggro decks. Enjoy your time in a spotlight because, oh shoot, it's too cute to be contained. Never mind, I'll see you next expansion. Number 104, Sweetened Snowflurry. I've seen rogues play this card for the combo with Sonya, and Death Knights run this card because frost spells are just really good in Death Knight. In both cases, they were very odd choices and they barely work. Number 103, Holy Glow Sticks. You run it in Highlander Paladin, and since that deck does not have much healing, it's necessary to put in. But again, it will be replaced by better Paladin cards in the future. Number 102, Wish Upon a Star. Some Shamans play this card for whatever reason they want, but at the end of the day, it's just a win more card and nothing else. Number 101, Game Master Nemsy. Nemsy! This card sees very infrequent play in Big Demon Warlocks, but if Big Demons get off the ground, then this card will be good in that deck. Number 100, Raza the Resealed. For how powerful this effect is, I am glad it never saw play. Priest just doesn't have the tools to complement it yet. Number 99, Helm of Humiliation. It's a 2-in-1 for hand buff Death Knights. Considering how this deck does not get too much direct removal, this card is a good niche pick if they feel like they need it. Number 98, Factory Assembly Bot. This card is really good in big style decks. Apparently there's a big paladin that plays it. I have never seen that deck be actually played, but there is a lot of data on it. Number 97, Thistle Tea Set. There are some mining rogues that have played this card. It's a substitute if you find yourself playing against some slower decks, but other than that, it's unimpressive. Number 96, Baking Soda Volcano. I thought this card would be good in control decks, but it turns out nowadays 10 damage isn't enough to clear a lot of boards. A lot of the time, Aftershocks or Lightning Storm is just better, but the healing gives it another option which could be used in the future. Also Bill Nye reference. Yeah, we love Bill Nye. Number 95, Snuggle Teddy. It's played in Highlander Druid, but I'm sure the only reason it is actually in that deck is because there are not enough good cards to put in that deck yet. Number 94, Dr. Stitch and Sew. This card gives a lot of value, but it really hasn't found a good home yet. Number 93, Cardboard Golem. If you ever play a slow aura deck, then this card is useful. We wait for that day to come. Number 92 and our halfway point, Shutterblock. I was scared when this card first got released, but unfortunately, or fortunately, Shutterblock respects our bubble, so the actual damage it can do on a turn for now is really minimal. Number 91, Crane Game. It saw some niche play in Big Demon Warlock, and I see this card being good in that deck for the future. Number 90, Wretched Queen. Same as Crane Game, there is some Big Demon Warlocks popping around, but this deck does not have enough support for it to be a good viable deck. Number 89, Origami Dragon. Unlike Origami Crane, this card is almost a 6-mana removal with better effects. That's why it sees niche play in Highlander Druid, the deck where a bunch of niche random cards are put in. Number 88, Puzzle Master Khadgar. Theoretically, if you own this card, you can just play it in most mage decks. That's why I think this card actually has the stats. People just have it and want to have fun with it. Number 87, the Galactic Projection Orb. For a bit of fun, spell mages can put this in their deck. I don't get why they would. I mean, who wants consistent win conditions though? Cause I want this. Number 86, Yogg in the Box. This saw more play than the Projection Orb, but only slightly. Still, who cares about making the deck worse if it's fun? Number 85, Sand Art Elemental. You can do some pretty cheesy things with this card in Shaman, but in reality, that's all. A bit of cheese. Number 84, Clay Matriarch. It can be played in Zarimi Priest, though it's not really a must put in, but it pops around here and there. Number 83, Crafter's Aura. Super annoying to deal with. It is hard to fit it in a lot of Paladin decks, but when it does get fit in, you do not like playing against this card. Number 82, Repackage. It's a board clear in some Highlander Priest decks. The effect is really unique, but let's be honest, it's not that good. Number 81, Funhouse Mirror. Another decent card in Highlander Priest, but I have a feeling it gets replaced in the future. Number 80, Murloc Grothin. This card gives Shaman a single target removal card. Some Shamans have teched this in just because they felt like it, but like the last few cards, it's more of a choice rather than a mainstay. Number 79, Sketch Artist. Some Insanity Warlocks will play this card in combination with Encroaching Insanity. They are insane for doing that, but that's why they played the deck. Number 78, Nostalgic Gnome. It only saw play in Highlander Paladin, and it's in the group of cards that are put in the decks because they just need to put something in the deck. It'll be replaced by next expansion. Number 77, Plucky Paintfin. It draws you a specific card and the poisonous is annoying, but at the end of the day, it's just another filler card for now. Number 76, Messmaker. This card is used in a few Highlander decks actually. It's a way to heal and control the board, but I can't believe a 3-mana 1/3 could ever be this good. Now we are at the start of the 3-star category. These cards are used a lot in lower tier decks, though they might not be the best, or they're decent in higher tier decks, but they can be changed around or replaced. I'm valuing both versatility and high-end impact, so just keep that in mind. Number 75, Table Flip. This card used to be played in slower Warlock decks like Mining Warlock, but unfortunately, Mining Warlock is completely outclassed now by other Warlock decks. Still, in Control Warlocks, this card is pretty useful. Number 74, Boom Wrench. For 5 mana, you can activate a Death Rattle twice. There is room for cheese here if there are some good Death Rattle support, but right now, you have to use number 73, Safety Expert. Let's be honest, this deck never took off. It's sitting on the bottom of the barrel, but I can see a future where everyone is raving to ban this card. Number 72, Part Scrapper. Pairing with the Boom Wrench and the Safety Expert, this card is more versatile as it's used with other mechs, and there is a lot of potential considering how much warriors can gain armor these days. Still hasn't reached its peak though. Number 71, Puppet Master Dorian. It feels weird putting a card with this much potential this low. It's used in a lot of decks, but there just isn't enough consistent results that bring this card higher than this tier. Number 70, Playhouse Giant. Right now this card is only used in Miracle Rogue, but I can see a future where Demon Hunters want to run this card too. Great for Miracle plays in both classes, but this deck is just not impressive enough to make it go higher. Number 69, nice. Everything Must Go. This card also supplements that Miracle Rogue archetype. It definitely helps you win. It's a decent card, but again, the Miracle Rogue deck is not consistent enough yet. Number 68, Domino Effect. This one is good, but also easy to play around. The 3 mana removal spell is also really competitive in the Warlock slots. Actually, all removal spells are competitive in Warlock. Too many things for it to compete with. Number 67, Endgame. This card will forever be a threat when the Warlock Titan, who may I remind you is a demon, remains relevant. Number 66, Flash Sale. Some Flood Paladins actually run this card. It's good for a more immediate board buff if you feel like you need it. Number 65, Triple Wick Trickster. It's pretty good in Elemental Mage, but nothing more. It helps with the board clear problems of Elemental Mage, but I can definitely see a future where that deck becomes outdated, or better elementals coming in the future replace this card. Number 64, Hagatha the Fabled. Though this card only saw play in certain Highlander and Tempo Shaman decks, playing this card could be a game changer in the right scenario. Number 63, Magtheridon Unreleased. This card is weird. It's not amazing when you play it in your own deck, but it's only good when you shop for it. Though you don't want to really run it, you do want to get it. So I just gave it 3 stars because it somehow makes an archetype work without even being in the deck. Number 62, Sparkling File. If you've never gotten Boomkin Druid comboed, then you are probably wondering why this card is so high up. It's the only reason why Aulonius isn't at the bottom of the barrel bad. Pair with some spell damage and it has some potential for some combos, but it's yet to be fully realized yet. Number 61, Quality Assurance. 2 mana draw 2 specific cards will always be good and an option to slot into some decks. It's not a mainstay in a lot of high tier warrior decks, but the package is good enough to be run sometimes nonetheless. Number 60, Fly Off the Shelves. It sees play in Zarimi Priest, but it sometimes is left out for some other cards instead. The idea of the toys being flung off the shelves and hitting you is pretty funny though, but it's not a must put in, so it can't really be higher than here. Number 59, Testing Dummy. This saw play in Bomb Warrior and Hand Buff Warrior, both decks that really never found their footing. The Taunt, Mech Tag, and Death Rattle does give it some high hopes for being used in the future though. Number 58, Tyrannosaurus. This really only sees play because of the Highlander Hunter combos you can get. When better beasts come or a better package comes, I'm pretty sure this card will be irrelevant. Okay, starting from here, we are at the 4-star category, meaning that these decks are actually good and are relevant to the expansion. These cards regularly see play or are cards that make specific lower tier decks really good. Number 57, Splendiferous Whizbang. I didn't really know where to put this card, so I'll give you a top 11 Whizbang decks really quick. Number 11, Death Knight, it blows. Number 10, Paladin, it blows. Number 9, Druid, it blows. Number 8, Mage, it blows. Number 7, Priest, hope you high roll your Pip or Automatons. Number 6, Shaman, hope you go against a slow deck. Number 5, Hunter, hope you draw good legendaries. Number 4, Demon Hunter, hope you get either Window Shopper or Umpire's Grasp. Number 3, Warrior, hope you draw Dark Pharaoh Takan. Number 2, Rogue, hope you get good treasures and then you can Shadow Step your Hook Tusk. Number 1, Warlock. This deck's actually kind of good, I'm not gonna lie. Number 56, Red Card. This card has 2 purposes, to combo with Magtheridon and basically be a 1 mana removal. In aggressive Demon Hunter decks, you can play this for 1 mana and your opponent's taunts just become irrelevant, and of course there is the Magtheridon synergy. Number 55, Whack-A-Null. As a card in Highlander Paladin, it's found a consistent place and it works. Compared to the other cards mentioned before, I think it has a better chance of staying in that deck, but it's still not amazing. Number 54, Wheel of Death. Though this card drove an entire archetype, the nerf destroyed any hope of this archetype being used for the time being. It gets points mostly for the legacy. Number 53, Painted Canvasor. Though this saw a lot of play earlier in the expansion, it's one of the reasons why Spell Hunter was so good at first. Since then, it's seen a massive fall off in play rate in favor of some other cards. Number 52, Woodland Wonders. A regular card in Hybrid Druid, but honestly, it's one of the worst cards in that deck. Still, it helps the deck survive against minion pressure, and it's decent enough to see play for now. Number 51, Thread of Despair. Since Death Knights don't get amazing board removal, this is the best substitute for that problem. Now they either will get better board removal in the future and this becomes obsolete, or they won't, and this will be used for a while. Starting our top 50 is the number 50 card, Darkthorn Quilter. This card's really only good in hand buff Death Knight, and it's a pretty decent card in that deck as well. That's why it gets a pretty respectable spot in the expansion. Number 49, Ball Hog. It's just a really solid card. It deals and heals at least 6 damage, and it comes out early enough for that 3 attack to actually be useful on the board. Number 48, Scale Replica. A card that really makes Zarimi Priest run. I have a feeling that the reason why Zarimi only works once per game is because of this card existing. Number 47, Fairy Tale Forest. It is a 3 mana draw 2, or if you're optimistic, a 1 mana draw 2. It sees play right now in Highlander Shaman, but I can see it being played in a lot of Shaman decks in the future. Number 46, King Plush. It's really only used in Highlander Hunter decks, but the portrait is just so cute. Number 45, Mystery Egg. One of the reasons why King Plush is used is because of Mystery Egg. That's why we have the Highlander Hunter package here. Number 44, Spirit of the Team. Though it's only seen play in Shopping Demon Hunter, if there was more aggressive Demon Hunter decks, I can see this card being played. Number 43, Shambling Zombie Tank. Though it's used in the same deck as Darkthorn Quilter, it has a better win rate and played rate. It's a good tool for that deck to be more proactive. Number 42, Malefic Rook. This is one of the main suspects onto why Pain Morlock is so oppressive. 6 health is so hard to deal with on turn 3. Number 41, Frostlich Cross Stitch. On turn 4, this card is amazing. It stops opponent's boards from getting too large, and the freeze is so good against aggro decks. Marks off because I don't know what's happening in the card art. Number 40, Lesser Spinal Spellstone. Unlike Opal Spellstone, this one does not have absurd conditions to improve it, and it does not get outclassed by other cards. Number 39, Magical Dollhouse. It's very versatile, but it relies on the other effects of other cards for it to actually be useful. Number 38, Infernal! This is such a great tool for Warlocks to stay alive after they commit Emo Kid. It might actually be the reason why Warlock decks can get away with doing so much self-damage. Number 37, Mass Production. Quick and easy refill for the cost of making your deck worse with each time you play it. I love the design, and the card is great in these Pain and aggressive Warlock decks. Number 36, Dubious Purchase. It's a great utility card for Miracle Rogues to have where they can actually remove minions now. It's one of the reasons why Miracle Rogues don't just immediately lose against minion heavy decks. Number 35, Trinket Artist. So long as Crusader's Aura keeps terrorizing the meta, this card will be great for refill in those Paladin decks. Number 34, Sleet Skater. This saw play in Elemental and Mining Mage. It's great at delaying and, even more importantly, annoying aggro decks until you can play your board clears. Number 33, Sky Mother Aviana. Not only is this a really fun card to play, but it's already useful in these longer lasting games you play as Druid. Number 32, Dig for Treasure, a theoretical draw a card for free type card. It's going to be a staple in a lot of Miracle or Pirate Rogue decks for the next year, so you better watch out. Number 31, Bottomless Toy Chest. At worst, it's just a 2 mana discover a card in your deck. At best, you get a 5, or 2 other cards. Number 30, Rainbow Seamstress. This card will scale with how good Rainbow or 2 Rune Death Knight decks are. For most metas, there are usually 2 Rune Death Knights or more, making this card really complementary and viable for many Death Knight decks. Number 29, Amateur Puppeteer. This card is one of the main reasons why hand buff Death Knight exists and is viable. Without this card, I would really hesitate to say that that deck would be really good right now. Number 28, Bargain Bin. This card is super annoying to play against. It gives Hunter consistent card draw, and it's a secret. Even if this card is not in your deck, you can discover it and it'll be useful. Number 27, Sonya Water Dancer. This enables so many combos, and it has the potential to do even more in Rogue. Number 26, Scarab Keychain. For a simple effect, this card is used in so many different decks. What stops this card from being higher is that most of these decks are just Highlander decks. Though it's a 1 mana 1/1 that basically draws you a card, it's not driving any decks, it's just an okay card in a lot of these decks. That's why it is not getting any top marks, and it sits right here. Starting our top 25 is Painter's Virtue. This card does it all. It heals for 6, it's a weapon, it gives so many stats, and it is mostly used in hand buff Paladin, and it finds some spots in some Highlander Paladin decks too. Number 24, Pop-Up Book. Great cards in all Shaman decks this meta. It's been useful in Nature Shaman, Highlander Shaman, and Tempo Shaman. All of the Shamans. Number 23, Product 9. A 5 mana card that can cast 5 secrets is the win condition that Hunter needs. The effect doesn't even limit it to Hunter secrets. Also, the reference to the old card Subject 9 is a nostalgia hit too. Number 22, Observer of Mysteries. This card is in so many decks. Highlander decks, secret decks, hand buff decks. It's even good in decks where you discover demons cards and you can play this card. Just like the Scarab keychain, the amount of versatility this card has is why it's ranked so high. Number 21, Safety Goggles. It's a 0 mana heal 6, but it's better than healing 6 because of all the cards armor synergizes with. Right off the top, you got Sanitize, you got Part Scrapper, you got so many things that this card can be good at. It's even good when it's at 2 mana because it never hurts to have just a bit more armor. Number 20, Sandbox Scoundrel. Be prepared to see this card a lot in the future. Right now it only fits in Mining Rogue, so we are safe from its mana discounting shenanigans. For now. Number 19, Umpire's Grasp. The pre-nerf version definitely contributes to why this card is so high, so I respect the legacy not to lower it too much. Number 18, Malfunction. Apparently this card has an 8% usage rate, which makes it one of the most used cards in the expansion. One of the main reasons why spell mages don't get burned out so easily because of this amazing removal tool. Number 17, Manufacturing Error. Speaking of cards that allow mages to burst, this one. Number 16, Spot the Difference. Spell Mage got a lot of support this expansion, so I'm lumping all of them in the same spot. Just a great tempo piece for that deck too. Number 15, Jungle Gym. This card was and still is a major threat in aggressive hunter decks. It deals so much damage, but the only thing that's holding it back is that it is really only good in one type of deck. Number 14, RC Rampage. Though Sneaky Snakes is the main driver in the spell token hunter deck, this card is also its right hand because of how good it is at just getting stuff on the board or getting big minions on the board. Number 13, Inventor Boom. This is a great win condition for Warrior. As long as warriors are running a big mech, this card will be good. Number 12, Toy Snatching Geist. A card that is almost universally ran in Death Knight decks. It's not the flashiest of cards, but it gives you mana discount and a bit of a card draw-ish type effect as well. Number 11, Window Shopper. This card has an entire deck archetype named after it. Getting Magtheridon at 1 mana will always be crazy, not to mention the Observer of Mysteries you can also get. The weird thing is that this card has the potential to objectively get worse if Demon Hunter gets some really bad demons. Starting now, we are going to our top 10 cards of the Whizbang's Workshop expansion, mainly ranked on power and general flexibility and viability. Number 10, Chia Drake. This card's in almost every druid deck in the meta right now, and it's a reference to Chia. It enables so many combos like the bottomless toy chest, or the general swipe burst with spell damage, or even the boomkin combos as well. You can play it in dragon decks, you can play it in slow decks, it is great for so many different uses. Number 9, Timewinder Zarimi. Though it is a tier 2 deck, the deck is named after him. Since this single card alone makes an entire archetype work, I think it deserves a respectable spot in the top 10. Number 8, Patchwork Pals. It's so useful in so many more hunter decks compared to the RC Rampage card. Great for getting damage to the face, great for some hand refill, great for some minion presence, great if you have nothing to do. Number 7, Toy Captain Tarim. This card will always be good because of the silver hand recruits you get from the hero power. If you're idling on your turn, you can play this card and it's great, you just get a bunch of tempo. And on top of that, you even get a removal in your hand just because. It can be slot into a lot of decks, and it's a powerful card in all of those decks. Number 6, Puppet Theater. This card is single-handedly why Highlander Priests can compete with other control decks. There's a reason why Priests run this card in their deck and in their ETC band. It allows you to get any high effect card from your opponent and then mirror force it right back at them. Number 5, Remote Control. This card is versatile and great. It's used in almost every hunter deck right now in this meta, and it will probably be like that for the foreseeable future. With hunter decks dominating the meta this entire set, this card deserves to be up here. Number 4, the Headless Horseman. What a great card. The base hero power is decent as is, but once you get that upgraded hero power, it is devastating to go against. The instant removal also makes it a bit more proactive other than just being a 6 mana do nothing when you play it, and it rhymes. You're gonna see this card for a long time as well. Number 3, Gift Wrapped Whelp. For any dragon deck in the future, this is one of the first cards you put in. It's a 1 mana which gives 4/3 in stats. That is outstanding. Number 2, Tigress Plushie. This card can do anything a paladin would ever want. Healing? Done. Board clear? Done. It even gives you a small tiny minion and 2 divine shields to play. So versatile in every single paladin archetype, that is why it is number 2. And of course, you know that number 1 is Ziliax Deluxe 3000. What is left to say about this card that you don't already know? It's good in almost every deck because of how many different combinations you can use. Good in minion based decks because it buffs your minions. Good in control decks because it can be a big wall or it can be an instant removal that heals. And it's a mech so it can be resummoned using cards like Inventor Boom. Easily the best card to come out of this expansion. Okay, I am done. Why'd I do this to myself?